They should make a fork that you can keep in your pocket, like in your wallet.
Yeah, a little cover
The
for it.
fork. Hey bakers, we're here in the studio today to talk about sourdough discard. What used to be a problem has become an opportunity. Today, we're gonna show 5 recipes ranging from breakfast to dessert. Great ways for you to use your sourdough discard.
I'm Kye, this is Martin, and this is Sourdough Discard, the real star of the show today. And this is usually a byproduct or a waste product when you feed your sourdough starter. It's the excess that you take out. But instead of composting it, you can make all of these delicious recipes with it. If you're looking for a full recipe, find the link in the description below, and we'll show you how to make these recipes. All right, Martin, we got cookies.
Let's eat.
So we're starting with this recipe right here, sourdough chocolate chip cookies. I'm so excited about these because they use a couple techniques that really go a long way. So they start with browning butter, like most good chocolate chip cookie recipes do, which adds great flavor. It uses 2 kinds of flour, all-purpose and bread flour, so you get a little bit of chewiness, but they're still tender. There's also 2 kinds of chocolate, dark chocolate and milk chocolate. You can see on top, there's 2 colors. Really adds a nice balance.
It's beautiful.
They are gorgeous cookies. And then of course, there's sourdough starter, which adds this really beautiful texture. You can see it's a little bit soft and bendy in the middle, and it has crisp outside. And if we have any leftovers, it helps keep them fresh for days.
Really
Not
nice.
that we will. We're probably gonna eat these all right now.
They're beautiful.
So.
I love this edge where it's like dark, but then still a little bit thick in the middle, so you get that crispness and then you get the bendy, man.
The puddles of chocolate on top are so special. Do you smell the sourdough right from the start?
Yeah, it's got a little bit of fermentation and then lots of vanilla, like vanilla notes, butter. Man, wow.
So much chocolate in these cookies. And who knew? Sourdough is what chocolate needed to just sing a little bit louder. It's a good cookie.
The crispness is like right on too. Like, man, so good. Okay. Thanks, Kye. See you later. Yeah, thanks. I'll be over here.
I got the rest of the dough.
Yeah. Good job. All right, here we go. Recipe number 2, buttery sourdough biscuits. Look how crispy they are. I love that level of color, like golden brown on top. And these are so stuffed with butter that they brown really nicely in the oven. And it gives you that crispness that you want. Couple things that I love about these. In addition to the crispness, I love the flavor. The depth of flavor that you get with these biscuits is just not normal for a biscuit. The sourdough starter brings all of this like lactic, like dairy, cheesy notes into it. And when you break it open, it's like eating sourdough bread, but like in its buttery form, right?
Nice.
It's crazy. And so it's, as a bread guy, it sort of is like the best of both worlds. And so in terms of the process,
Yeah, how do you make them?
a little bit of dry ingredients. So you got your flour, you got your salt, and your leavening in the bowl. You add your butter, and then I sort of work it in with my hands until I get those leaves, you know?
Yeah.
And then the sourdough culture goes in, and that's all of the liquid in the recipe is the sourdough culture, right? So you just stir to combine, it comes together really nicely. The consistency is slightly looser or slightly softer than what I might do for a normal biscuit.
Okay.
Dump it out, pat it into form, and then cut some rounds. You can also cut squares if you prefer, whatever, it doesn't matter. And then bake until you've got nice full color and enjoy them warm, maybe even double a batch. You want to try one?
Yeah.
I always smell first because to me it's like, that's most of what we're tasting, right?
And these are fragrant. You walked in and it was like a
Crazy.
wall of flavor.
Crazy fragrant.
Yeah.
Man,
Can hear the crisp crackle of the
Yep.
the golden brown bottom.
yep. Man, it's so cheesy, right? It's almost like we used cultured butter or something, but we didn't. It's just straight butter, but it's that sourdough culture that brings all of that fermentation flavor and that depth.
You don't necessarily need butter on these, but
No.
I would put it.
You could definitely put butter, but it's like, man, just a breakfast sandwich, maybe an egg on there or something like that. Recipe number 2, buttery sourdough biscuits. Cheers.
Cheers. Our third sourdough discard superstar recipe is sourdough granola. And this is a great recipe if you love clusters in your granola. And who doesn't? It's the best part of any cereal,
For
right?
sure.
It's so good. So this granola is made with sourdough starter plus some maple syrup for sweetness. That also helps to give you this crunchy clusters that are light and crispy. There's some cinnamon for fragrance. And then you basically just clean out your pantry with whatever sort of grains and seeds you have on hand, like oats, flax, chia, coconut, pecans. Toss it all together to combine. Bake it, and then you add the dried fruit after, so it stays really chewy, soft, doesn't get leathery. And then you can break up the pieces into however big you want. If you want shards that you can snack while you're having your coffee on, that's great. Or break it up and have it with some yogurt, either way you want. But the sourdough discard is really the secret to those crunchy clusters. I would eat this any time of day.
All day. Great depth of flavor. The salt is like perfect.
It's just so crunchy. I feel like homemade granola often lacks that crunch that you might find in store-bought, but this is so there. Super good.
Really
and it
good.
cleans out your pantry. Sourdough granola, it's a keeper. It's a superstar. All right, what do we have here, Martin?
Man, this is our sourdough pizza crust. It's made with discard.
Nice.
And the beauty of that is that, especially if you're in a rush, you don't have a lot of time for a dough that's had a long fermentation, what we can do is use the sourdough discard like a bouillon cube of flavor, and we can infuse the crust so you get the long fermented flavor in the matter of a couple of hours. It's a great technique and works really well with this crust. It also helps to make the dough a little bit extensible, a little bit softer. You'll even notice that when it comes out of the mixer, it's still going to be pretty slack, but over the course of fermentation, it'll firm up some, it'll strengthen, and then when we go to stretch it, that's a benefit, right? Because it will get to size much more easily. So a couple of beautiful things about this sourdough discard pizza crust. Let's see what it tastes like.
I want to see if it's chewy. Right. It's beautiful, the puffy crust.
It's substantial, you know? This is one of those pies, like a couple slices, and it's like, man, the flavor is there, the consistency is there. Please. Bottom, well baked. We've got a nice firm crust, a no dip tip, you know, those people who are looking for the cheers, New York style. Really good.
Smells good too. I like that really it's overnight flavor in just 2 to 3 hours.
In a couple hours, right?
It's pizza. How can you not love it?
It's beautiful. I'm very happy.
Even with just simple toppings, there's so much flavor in the crust. It's really a quality pizza without much on it.
Exactly.
Super good.
Discard Superstars. Pizza edition.
Number 4. Is that right?
Glad you said
I don't even know.
I lost track.
This is recipe number 5, sourdough chocolate cake, and it might be my favorite of all 5.
It's beautiful, and I can it smells really good.
So some sourdough discard recipes try to sneak discard in there just to use it up. This recipe fully embraces the starter.
Beautiful.
You basically make a giant starter to begin with. So you combine your discard with some milk and some flour and let that rise for about 2 to 3 hours. So really like embracing that fermentation flavor.
It's like a sponge.
It's like a sponge.
Yeah.
Gets puffy. Then in a separate bowl, you combine your sugar and your cocoa and your eggs and make this like fudgy mixture, and then add that to your sponge. And you mix it all up. It's kind of a gloopy mess. It kind of looks like bread dough, like focaccia. It's got some gluten development, and then you pour it into the pan and bake it. It gets a really nice rise. And in the meantime, you make this coffee frosting that has a kick of espresso. Yeah, it has a lot of espresso powder in it, but it really complements the chocolate.
Wow.
And so it's a melted butter icing that uses yogurt for some tang. So this cake is sweet, but it's got that nice tang of the discard plus the yogurt and the coffee. And then to garnish it, we just do some abstract art, melted chocolate chips drizzled on top, however you like. You can be fussy and use a piping bag, or you can have fun and make a mess. So it's a little bouncy, like almost like a little bit, no, I don't want to say bready, that doesn't sound good.
No, but it is. It's got like a little bit of openness to the structure. Yeah. It's a fermented cake. How many times in your life do you ever make a fermented cake? It's
not
good.
That many, but I might be making it more often from here on out.
Chocolate is rich. It's definitely like.
Yeah.
Wow.
I used our triple cocoa blend.
Oh, but it's super moist. Look. Beauty. Wow.
I'm going for it. Wow.
Wow, the coffee.
Yeah, I was going to say, we could do more kicks.
Yeah.
That's not a kick of espresso.
I'm not going to sleep tonight.
I know. There's no coffee in the cake, but just having it in the icing really brings the flavors together. Chocolate lovers will love this. I think bread bakers will love this.
And the icing is sweet, but the cake is not super sweet.
Yeah.
It's like, I love that balance.
Yeah, super good.
Wow. Okay.
Pretty easy, and you use up your sourdough discard.
Man,
Win, win, win.
it's really good.
It is good.
Good job.
Good job, King Arthur Test Kitchen.
Yeah. So there you have it, 5 discard recipes, 5 ways to celebrate discard. It's not something to worry about, it's something to look forward to through 5 great sourdough superstars.
If you're looking for the recipes, find the links in the description below and tell us in the comments how you like to use your starter, whether it's one of these 5 recipes or some other creative way. Like, subscribe, and follow along so you can bake with us here in the studio. I'm Kye, and
I'm Martin. Thanks for coming along, y'all.
thanks,
Bye.
bakers.